the current scenario of the disturbances because of the Middle East war or the Ukraine-Russia war have changed a lot of dynamics.
Yeah.
How has this impacted investments into India?
India has always been looked at as a country which has been a technology or an AI cradle for innovation for AI and technology.
Sugar and spice and everything not so nice. So what is not so nice in the book?
What is sugar and spice? You come to know when you have a startup.
So is the rising dollar a negative or a positive?
If you're talking about foreign direct investment into companies, then they'd probably look at, I'll get more back for my buck. Right?
Proteins beyond a measure would also be harmful to your body.
We are what we eat, but most importantly, we are what we absorb.
Right from the time I was born,
Yes.
I have put coconut oil on my hair.
I wanted that. This was what my grandmother told me. I do it to this day. So I have to share this.
So I must. It's too late for me to try it.
No, Pramod fortunately has a hairstyle where he doesn't need the oil. So welcome guys, welcome to Sante Spa Cuisine here at the BKC, and we are at the table talks at Sante. I've got some very interesting bunch of friends who are going to be having diverse conversations, something that will be enlightening me at the end of the session, and since this is recorded, it will benefit me for the rest of my life, and it will benefit a lot of people who are going to watch this show. At Sante, conversation cannot happen without some good food, and we have got an expert with us today as we get into this conversation, and she is Avantika, and
Hi.
she is a nutritionist and a lifestyle coach. We have got a very interesting menu that we are going to be enjoying together. Food is more tasty when you have it with friends,
Yes, absolutely.
and along with food, when you're going to get some knowledge, some insights, some experiences, it's all going to be a very cherishing moment. So we have got a very interesting menu. Avantika, can you put some light on what we are going to be having at Sante?
Sure. I actually liked the statement that you made. And there was a research actually conducted in Harvard that health is not only about the income that's there at home or the cholesterol levels or any other metabolic profiles. And it was actually run for a long period of time. It also matters how well your social connections are. That's why I also never ever discourage my clients from going out or choosing meals on social occasions, because that is equally important for mental and emotional well-being. Like back in the days, our ancestors would always share their meal plates at home, and I think nowadays it's difficult, but that's where restaurants or wellness spaces like Sante brings people together, So I think I resonate with the statement that you made, that social connections are very, very important with meal choices of food.
Absolutely. In fact, in most of the part of the world, a lot of conversations happen over a meal.
Absolutely.
So I used to do a lot of business in Dubai, where whenever you go to Dubai, I used to have 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, 2 high teas and 2 dinners, because those are the amount of meetings I used to have. So their meetings always had over a plate of food. Since this is Sante, we begin with a very interesting aspect. This is the beverage, the pineapple spinach refresher, one of my favorites. I'm sure you guys will love it, and when you're in Sante, you'll get everything will be very authentic, very earthen. So the copper glass, water in the copper glass. We have water stored in a mud jar. Again, going back to the roots, something that our body cherishes, and water also in the purest form, apart from the food that we get. And tonight we are going to have a multi-course meal over this conversation. So we are going to be having, beginning with Shia yogurt bowl, then we are going to be getting into the soba noodle Buddha bowl. We are going to be enjoying some woodland mushroom pizza. Then we are going to be having masoor and coconut rasam. GR, if that sounds, if that rings a bell, yeah. So rasam is something that you are used to, I am used to, but
Absolutely.
masoor and coconut, we'll look at the
That's a
combination.
different combination.
That's a different combination. Then we are going to be having a mixed veg hargo, and concluding with the green pav bhaji. Of course, no meal is complete without desserts, so we are going to be having a chilled matcha cheesecake. So that's on the Sante menu tonight. So this is for you, Adhiraj.
Thank you.
So we are having some very interesting people. We have got Adhiraj, who's into venture funding, raising funds, creating funds, operates between London and India, and does a lot in a lot of new aspects, which we'll be listening to him as the conversation flows along. We have got GR, a veteran and champion of strategic investments and running multiple businesses. He's a serial entrepreneur. So we are going to be looking forward for his insights as well. We have got our very dear friend Pramod, from the gentleman who created the first security systems in this country, that is Zycom. It's like a Bonvita or a Xerox machine or as common a word as that, because everybody has heard about it since so long. And especially in the current times, what you did multiple decades back has gained such a lot of importance, because people today depend more on electronic surveillance than on physical security guards. So thank you, Pramod, for initiating that in this wonderful country of India.
My pleasure.
So this is going to be a very interesting conversations. Adhiraj, I don't want to take it away from you. I want you to introduce yourself in brief on who you are, what you do, and what somebody can do with you after listening to your introduction.
Thanks. So I'm Adhiraj. I've been in the venture capital space for a very, very long time. We are raising a couple of funds. One is a veteran-focused fund for defense veterans. One is a defense fund for startups in the homeland security and defense space. We have another fund that does leverage buyouts. So large or mid-sized companies, we try and buy them out and then use technology disruption to change the business model and hyperscale them. And we have another fund that we've just actually last week floated, which is a prop tech fund. So, startups in the property technology space, like Pramod's space or anything to do with smart spaces, is something that we're chasing.
Excellent, Adhiraj. We'll explore as we go along.
Absolutely.
Pramod, if you can just create an introduction which will be as magnetic as you are.
Thank you, Rajesh. We know what we did. So, in 1995, I bought cameras in the country when I myself didn't know what a camera looked like. And in those days, people didn't want a camera because our lati chokidar ka zamana tha. So people felt, "Koi theek hai, guy, koi camera hai." And camera could never prevent a crime. Camera can only record a crime. So I started from there, and today, thanks to AI, camera has become not only ubiquitous, it also does a lot of intelligent work. So now cameras are business outcome cameras. They're no longer cameras that only record. They give you business outcome. So that's my short introduction, Rajesh. Pleasure again being on our show again.
So Pramod also rides the Harley Davidson, has got multiple large groups, travels across the world on his motorcycle. Even now, it's a center of attraction outside this restaurant. People are wondering whose bike is this. They don't see a Maybach or a Mercedes car, but they love to see a Harley Davidson. And Pramod, with his kind of style, he's a style icon. That's visible. He makes the Harley Davidson look very attractive. So,
Thank you, Rajesh.
That's Pramod. GR. That's the short abbreviation, but I'm sure people would want to know the real long tongue-twisting name, just like mine.
I think, Rajesh, first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me to this wonderful podcast session. GR, short form for Gopalakrishnan Ramachandran. I thought this has a story behind it, which I'm going to be sharing very quickly. I had finished my chartered accountancy from Pricewaterhouse, and then I got an offer in New York to work in Ernst & Young in EY. I went to New York. The first thing they were asking me is, can you speak in English? The partner thing. So that was very interesting. So I land there, a typical South Indian guy with a lot of oil in his hair. I'm not the same now. Wearing Terline shirt. In those days, it was polyester. And carrying a steel suitcase. You must be understanding that. Those steel trucks.
Yeah.
I carried it, and they looked at me like I'm some sort of a zombie who has come there. Fine. So he starts talking. He had a wonderful secretary. Yeah? I'm talking about 1985. And he told her, I don't know whether these guys can even understand what I'm talking. Now, I had a few friends of mine. We were 3 or 4 guys going from India, all eyes wide open. And we are thinking of John F. Kennedy Airport. We're totally blown apart. And then we land there, and Well, today Indian airports are far better than the US airports. I must confess that today. And what I see is this guy immediately comes and says, I don't know whether these guys can talk in English. Now my blood started boiling. So I got up and told him, can we have a bet? And he asked me, what is a bet? I said, I will give you 10 chances to pronounce my name.
Wow.
And you give me one chance to say a name right. And I've not seen $1 till date. Okay? I will pay you $10 because I'm a poor man. And you'll pay me $100. But you're getting 10 chances. I'm getting only one. Fair? He said, fair. So I told him, what is your name? He said, my full name is Eric Mark Angelic Talt. I said, wonderful. I told him, Eric Mark Angelic Talt. And then I told him, my name is Gopalakrishnan Ramachandran. That guy got.
So that was your first income, $100.
$100. He said, Rama, he couldn't get it. But the beauty is, Rajesh, he thought I was kidding. He said, I'm sorry, now what should we call you? I said, JR of Dallas. There was a serial that was running. I said, you know JR of Dallas? I said, call me GR. And that's how my name became GR from 1985. But the guy didn't want to pay me $100. And he says, I'm your partner. I said, you may be my boss later. Today when we meet, a deal is a deal. You guys taught me. So $100 down. That's how my name became GR Rajesh.
Wow.
And then after that,
First time I'm hearing that somebody gets paid for having a name.
I know.
I never tried. I never had that trick ever because my name is a tongue twister as well.
but
Agnelorajesh.
then
Nobody could pronounce it.
Then I
including me when I was young.
Rajesh, I was learning entrepreneurship from these Americans.
Fantastic.
So that's my baptism by fire in the US. So that's how it
Fantastic.
started.
Excellent.
And then just picking up from there, 45 years in the professional world, 20 years I've been an investment banker, working with the likes of EY and others, and Reliance Capital used to be the CEO. And after that, from 2000, I've been a startup specialist, 25 years, 25 startups, made money in 14, lost in 4, running 7.
That's
as
a
I
good
talked
average.
To you all.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
good.
and at the moment I'm running 7 tech companies predominantly, sector agnostic. So if you ask me what I do, I'm romantically invested in startups as of date.
That's a good romance to have. Fantastic.
Yeah, and my wife doesn't object to it. I must tell you that.
As long as she believes that these are 7 companies and not 7 women.
No, she believes so.
Okay, Avantika. So best for the last, and I'm sure you must have not yet tasted the.
I did.
I want you to
will.
comment on it once you have it because this is one of my favorite drinks.
Very good.
Before I comment, what I observed was this is not plastic.
Yes,
Because
it's a banana leaf.
I do advise my clients not to use plastic. Because,
Fantastic.
Yeah, forget the environment part, but it's not also good for
Your
hormonal health for men and women both. So I'm a nutritionist and a lifestyle consultant. Why I say lifestyle consultant? Because it's not just dishing out a meal plan in terms of nutrition, but also coaching my clients. What are the choices that one need to make? Because nowadays clients do travel a lot. It's not only just being confined in the 4 corners of your house. They travel. We speak about globalization, but the world is getting smaller, though there is a lot of diversity. So how to choose meals when they travel? What are the best choices to make? At what time they need to make? What time they need to sleep? What time they need to wake up? Because nutrition is not only about just what's on your plate. It's also a lot about the lifestyle choices that one makes and to do with emotional and mental well-being. Yeah,
Absolutely. As entrepreneurs, the most ignored part of our life has always been the food.
Hmm.
Because the advantage of being an entrepreneur is freedom. And the disadvantage of being an entrepreneur is also freedom. There is nobody regulating you. You are not accountable to anybody. So the first thing that you do is you abuse your body by not having food on time, then having wrong food at the wrong time, and messing up your health to an extent that when you want to enjoy the food, more than seeing your wife or your girlfriend or your family, you're seeing the doctor. So you make the money to invest in medicines. And that's where concepts like Sante Spa Cuisine add a lot of value to your life, because even if you overeat or even if you cheat, in fact, doctors recommend Sante food. It is food for the soul,
Absolutely.
which will not corrupt your health. So, as entrepreneurs, we need to look into our own personal wellness, especially during travels. And every successful entrepreneur learns from traveling. So, he keeps traveling. And that is where he gets hooked on to wrong habits of wrong timings, wrong food choices, and then messes up. So, I think today a lifestyle coach like you, a nutritionist like you, is definitely a part of the team that an entrepreneur should have, if I'm not wrong.
Very true.
Thank you.
Very true.
Very important.
What do you think about that, Pramod? You're a health freak yourself. You're physically very alive, very conscious, and you definitely take care of your health.
So going back to my mom's story, Rajesh, my mom told me, when I was young, that your all the organs in your body should last a lifetime, and do take care of them, because you have to live a lifetime, right? You can't play with it or you can't mess with it. So I picked up that lesson very early in my life, and that's what I've been trying to do. Try to remain fit as much as possible, because otherwise we'll be spending more time and money on the doctor than on our businesses. So that's my mantra, and so far so good.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
So, Adhiraj, now we are seeing some turbulent times.
Yeah.
At regular intervals, we keep watching turbulent times. Like
Yeah.
the current scenario of the disturbances because of the Middle East war or the Ukraine-Russia war had changed a lot of dynamics.
Yeah.
If you go to see today, we are divided geographically just to protect our own resources. But otherwise, the whole world is actually one country, one single country. Whatever happens in one part of the world impacts the other side of the world,
Very true.
which was not like that historically, not like that 100 years back or 200 years back.
Right.
Today, a war happening somewhere else and one Hormuz becomes the reason for capital disruptions across the world,
Yeah.
escalation of living costs across the world,
Absolutely.
and it is really impacting each one of us. How has this impacted investments into India because of this change season?
That's a really good question, but I just want to respond on Pramod's point before I go to your question, right? So, I completely echo with your point of having fitness in business and what Avantika is doing. I've been a lifelong athlete. I do a sport that very few people follow in India called MMA. So,
Oh, that's visible on you.
oh, yeah. Pramod sees me every morning on a bag.
And he's a boxing guy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
really, all his anger, he
Yes.
moves on that.
There's no anger. But I just wanted to respond to what Pramod said actually. So every time I hire somebody for my team, my personal team, I always hire them from a sports field. And
Yes.
the reason is very simple. One, I mean, everybody talks about teamwork and what sports does for camaraderie and stuff like that. But one thing that when I was talking to Pramod actually the other day, I realized why I do it is because sports teaches you how to prepare the best that you can for any tournament
Correct.
and then lose and then get up the next day and prepare with the same amount of passion, right? That
Not giving up.
No business school, nothing can teach you that kind of perseverance. And I've always seen that I've succeeded when I've got sports people around me in my immediate team from that perspective. So that was just my parting shot, and parting shot to you also. Wherever I travel in the world, I always go and practice MMA in every country, and that's been a really, really enriching experience for me when I've been traveling for work. So it's not necessary that travel for work would, make your health worse. It's the choices that you're tuned to make. Now back to the business question. See, India has always been looked at as a country which has been a technology or an AI cradle for innovation for AI and technology, right? So if you have to stretch that vector a little further, a lot of our unicorns have actually become unicorns because of the market velocity of India in itself, right? They've grown because there's enough domestic demand, there's enough to aggregate within our ecosystem to kind of make them self-sufficient. And all the global venture capital funds looked at India and said that this is where we want to create technology for the world. That was cycle one of the VC space, right? Everybody came in, created SaaS companies, created, really, really good ERPs, and then suddenly AI came before Hormuz and turned every SaaS company into a API. That's it. Every SaaS company is now just a thing that plugs into something else. So valuations anyway were kind of tumultuous. I think geopolitical resilience has further hit that whole spectrum of AI investing and digital transformation. But what is ignored in India, and this is what I'm seeing global investors coming to India, is that, and there was a recent statement at the World Economic Forum that India is changing from a software first country to a product first country, right? So can we as a nation become a product nation where we create products like Pramod has from a CCTV camera perspective? Can we create aesthetically pleasing products in clothing, stationery, food? There's so many places that we can disrupt because the whole world is coming to India for the demographic, right? So can we create aesthetically pleasing quality products? And I've seen a huge wave of startups that have started in that space. And interestingly, in the last 2 months, I've got people from Dubai, from Cyprus, from Canada, and from the US coming to us and saying, are there any product companies, like hardware product companies that we can invest in? Software, I think, has been more than explored, but are there any consumer durable products? Are there any, FMCG products that we can invest in? So interestingly, adversity also triggers something completely different. Right. So this whole global disruption has made the whole world think and stretch their imagination to look at India as a cradle now for a product nation. And I think that's what we're also trying to promote. There aren't enough product startups in the country. There are now fledglings, but I think if India focuses and our country focuses on creating stuff that isn't tied in with a variable of global change, then I think that's where a lot of global investors are going.
So is the rising dollar a negative or a positive? Do the foreign funds look at it as, okay, we can buy more since the dollar has risen, we can buy more equity for the same amount of money because of inflation in the dollar cost? Or is it a negative that people are uncertain, so they don't want to put investments into India?
See, if you're talking about foreign direct investment into companies, then they'd probably look at, I'll get more bang for my buck, right?
Absolutely.
They'll get more.
That is the positive of
That's the positive. They'll get more
increasing price cost of the dollar.
The downside is that if the earnings are in rupees, so if
then repatriating it is going to be expensive.
Yeah. So I've had so many friends, the Italian guy who comes to our gym, the jiu-jitsu guy. He said that every month I'm losing 1,500 pounds on my salary because of the rupee going up and down.
Fluctuation.
Yeah, because of fluctuation.
And he's paid in Indian rupees.
That's
a bad shot.
Yeah. So if the rupee is going to fluctuate and the earnings are in rupees, then there might be some skepticism, but they are getting more bang for their buck. The other side is, can you create, and Indian business models are uniquely positioned, right? Like the quick commerce guys, the cabs, where they're inelastic to global volatility because our guys are still going to we're still at that first wave of innovation. We don't have first world problems that we're solving. We're solving very basic human need problems. And for that, I think we're pretty much inelastic to that side of the fluctuation.
So, GR, it's very interesting that you have captured all your experiences in a book that you authored. So, you're also an author now.
By default.
By default. Oh, excellent. Because I love to say this, when you become an author, you are an authority on that subject. And you've got a very interesting name to your book. Sugar and spice and everything not so nice. So, what is not so nice in the book?
Sugar?
I was of the opinion that when I wrote the book, it was written during COVID. I had no work, and I thought that I should do something constructive. And then I started thinking about the journey I had passed through from being a professional to an entrepreneur. And then I chronicled the details of how, when you become a startup specialist, what is sugar and spice you come to know when you have a startup. In the corporate world, checks came to you on the first of the month, and you had this simple arrogance in saying, I don't even have to look at my bank account. Wonderful. I was thrilled. Bank balance is big. I'm happy. But the biggest problem I had in life was when I became a startup co-founder. And what did it teach me? That at the end of the month, you have to pay checks. You don't receive checks. Big difference. You got checks in one case.
Turning the tables.
And I found a very interesting thing. I asked the employees, I'm having a cash constraint. They said, sir, And they were very polite, to afford. So that's your problem. We need our salary on time. 2 days, I delayed it, it happened to me very many a time. And they used to come and tell me, sir, aapne check delay kar diya. We have our EMIs. The current generation is different. From my generation, I was unlearning several things. And then finally it dawned upon me that I'm the guy who's trembling in my shoes and saying, I am the CEO. I am the co-founder. It doesn't pay. You'll have to pay your bills. That's a harsh fact of life in a startup.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned. More importantly, the other thing that came to me is that I'm trembling in my shoes, man. And the employees are trying to control me. Why? Because they say, you give me the check, give me my payment, I'll go away. That was spice for me. The sugar part of it was when these startups grew. And the funny part of the story, in startups, you can have valuation. And valuation need not have any relationship with profits. Yes, Pramod?
Absolutely.
Valuations, I repeat, don't need to have any relationship with profits.
You just need to be scalable.
You should say,
Yes.
no, these are nice words. You need to say they are scalable, they are sustainable, they are doing very well. It's a new sector, it's a niche area. You say all of that.
It is environmental friendly.
Everything. You say
All
all
the
the right
good words.
things.
All the
And
good
then
words.
you have enchanted the private equity guys. Adhiraj, I'm not including you there. You've included the guys. And then you know what happens? You say, look at it. When I started the startup, it was this way. Now you look at it, the potential scale up. Start, scale, and sell. So what do? You go to
Start,
sell.
scale, and sell.
So you go to sell and you get some obscene valuations, 5x, 10x. So in the process, I found that to be my biggest sugar in my case. So here, if you want something to be relating to the fitness industry,
I was going to ask you about Cult Fit.
Avantika, the problem for me was that I used to do a before and after for my startups, as I used to do a before and after for people who were coming to the gym. When they were coming to the gym, and I used to say, let me have your before photographs.
Yeah.
And then you be with me. I used to have a body mass machine and used to tell them how you were when you just entered and now how you're looking. Thankfully, in my case, I had personal training and friends like Pramod used to work out with personal trainers. So they used to be looking in good shape. So I had the benefit to say, oh, they're looking fabulous. The before and after used to only help me. In the process, I learned a lot about it. Be it the startups.
That's your background that you gave about the Goals Gym that you're involved with.
Yeah, Goals Gym, it became by accident. 20 years in the corporate world, a friend of mine tells me, you understand the F word very well. I said, I understand finance and another way of looking at the F word. When I tell people F4. So I said that I understand. But then he said there is a world known as fitness.
Yeah.
And do you want to come to that world? I said, fitness and a TAM brand? No ways. I'm an intellectual guy. That was my first reaction.
You're
Then
fit in the mind.
It was all a mindset, change your mindset. Then I said, from finance to fitness, hey, not a bad thing. Let me get into it. And when I got into the fitness world, I think 2001, November 19th, I inaugurated Gold's Gym in Napeansea Road. And I can tell you from 2001 till 2026, 25 years, I can give you one feedback about me. I put on 1 kg in this period of time.
Wow.
That's all.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's been the same.
If you would have had dined at Sante, it would have been -1 kg.
Which I don't want. Then that's a negative here, Rajesh, so I would not want it. I tell you, fitness taught me a lot of things. And one of them was discipline, dedicated, and devoted to your body. And more importantly, I think one area where I learned a lot from fitness, which I never learned in my corporate world in finance and strategy, was you need to be eating food on time and don't do it after 7, maximum 7:30. If you are going to eat at 8, 9, 10, skip the dinner. I have done that for the past 26 years.
If you speak this language, you're going to be a threat to Avantika's profession.
No, I exited, that's why. I said Avantika should be existing, I should be out. So what I did is I got out of the system.
You should be talking more finance than fitness. You're on the wrong F.
You got it right, man. So that's what I did. And today I can tell you, these startups have taught me a lot of things of how you have to be empathetic with people, how in a startup, hierarchy doesn't work, Rajesh. That's the biggest thing. And third, a flat structure, you need to understand you are buddies. It's not a boss-subordinate relationship. I've learned that. In all my startups, people call me by first name.
Yeah.
We are friends. And I learn from them, they learn from me. Because that shock came to me when I was running.
So as long as they are productive, you're fine with whatever they call you. But what happens if they are not
No,
productive?
I don't like if they call me anything. Huh? They can only call my name.
What do you do when they are not productive to your expectations? Because
If they're
in
not
startup,
productive-
that's a problem at times.
No, you have a problem there. When they're not productive to your expectations, you have to tell them to exit. That's a harsh fact of life because you have a cash burn. Earlier, and Adhiraj will testify this, cash burn was a fad.
Yeah.
Today, cash burn is looked down upon. You can't have losses or cash burn.
So this is what you have got it covered in your book that you have
Yes,
got published.
and I'm saying that it has got sugar and spice. So fortunately, that got published and people have been reading it. And I tell
It's a
them,
bestseller on Amazon.
so I'm very happy with that.
One good thing that pandemic did was it made a lot of people authors. It made a lot of people good cooks. It made a lot of people good barbers.
Oh, you bet. And I'll tell you, pandemic helped me in writing a book. And that's why I can say I became an author by default.
By default. Excellent. So that's all that's
That
covered in
book
your
is
book. So it's
encompassing-
your experiences with startups.
Yeah, the only plus point in the book, which I like to talk about sugar and spice and everything not so nice, is it's asymmetrical. Each chapter is a story in itself, and you can read it any chapter, anytime, and find your lessons there. Hopefully, you'll love it.
But that's
Wow,
the way I love
that's
to read
fantastic.
a book.
That's fantastic. So Avantika, I am just enjoying this homemade soup. This is the masoor
And by
and
the way, the
coconut
homemade
rasam.
soup was lovely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
So it is said that coconut does a lot of good to your body, right?
Yes.
That's why people in the south who eat a lot of coconut, they have coconut in everything. I'm a half South Indian. The longevity of their life is longer, and probably that's why our chief chef Shailendra Kekade, he believes that ingredients, you should create flavors with the combination of ingredients. You don't need colors, you don't need artificial flavors, you don't need anything that can be harmful to the body. By just having the right ingredients together, you can make a dish like the masoor and coconut rasam. You must have had this coconut rasam for the first time, right? Being a tam-ram.
So, Tam Bram, still I'm having it for the first time.
Still you're having it for the first time.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I challenge promote to the world is whatever you eat in Sante, first and foremost 70% is invented by Sante.
Oh.
So whatever you eat in Sante is also only available only in Sante. So being a tam-ram, you're having this kind of a soup which has got the word rasam for the first time.
First time.
First time, absolutely.
What's your take on that? About the ingredients in your food? Like for example, the coconut that is being used in this masoor and coconut rasam.
So my first question to you when I arrived was, it's a vegetarian cuisine, and I have observed this in my practice that it's pretty challenging to find the right protein sources, you know. So masoor, of course, is a protein source, but adding coconut also aids in the digestion of protein because it's a healthy fat.
Oh, it
But-
helps in the digestion of proteins. That's
Yeah,
a
because
very
it's a
interesting
healthy
observation.
fat and it's a medium chain or length fat, as in you have long chain triglycerides, as we call in our scientific nutrition science. That so because coconut is a medium chain triglyceride, it's very easy to digest. So most of the athletes also, he would probably have heard of that. They
You're
have-
expert with athletes' lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why she's
They
pointing at
have
me.
MCT oil, medium chain triglyceride
Yeah,
oil
yeah.
in the morning because it bypasses the system and it is easily absorbed. So it's the first meal, it's easily absorbed so that we can enjoy the rest of the meals in the
Wow,
course
that's
also,
so
yeah.
interesting. Good to have you on board for this conversation.
You know, Rajesh,
I might not know so much about the combinations.
And the curry
The way
and
she is talking.
mustard has been very thoughtfully added because it helps in the secretion of bile. That's like a shampoo that aids in the digestion of food.
Oh,
So yeah, it's a
I'm
great
sure Chef Shailendra knows this. The founder of Sante, my partner Sonal Barmecha knows this. Thanks to you, now I have known this because I don't have these conversations with Chef or with
Why not,
Sonal.
Rajesh? You have only one conversation. Is the food good? Are the customers paying me money? Is my cash flow
Positive.
positive? That's
And
all
very,
he's
very
doing.
positive.
I can make that out here, Rajesh. For sure. For sure, I'm able to make that
But
out.
as entrepreneurs, isn't that our focus area
Right.
all the time?
cash
Where
flow
the
first.
needle is sticking on the better side, on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where
but
it keeps
today,
on moving
I
towards the
must
right hand
say
side.
that you got something free. A
Absolutely.
free consulting.
Absolutely.
So now this you're going to use it as currency.
I'm paying her in soup.
But that I would say a trifle unfair in her favor.
I think Pramod wanted to comment something.
No, since we are on the subject of coconut oil, recently I got to know that coconut oil could be a great mouth freshener.
Yes.
So they are
For
saying
oil
when you get up in the morning,
We should gargle.
you should gargle your mouth with coconut oil and let it be there for 3 to 5 minutes. And you really feel fresh after that. I tried it out, it worked. Huh?
So
But,
Sticking to
I do
toothbrush.
Pramod,
recommend
I
this.
also do one more thing we do in the south, and if I tell you, you should not take it otherwise. We use coconut oil so that our hair is rich
Yes.
and shiny.
Right from
I
the
wanted to tell you that.
right from the time I was born,
Yes.
I put coconut oil on my
Coconut oil.
hair.
I wanted that. This was what my grandmother told me. I do it to this day. So I have to share this.
So I must, it's too late for me to try it.
No, Pramod fortunately has a hairstyle where he doesn't need the oil.
Oh, that's why I
don't know.
told him that the coconut oil cannot be used on your hair.
But that's brilliant the way you explained that,
Thank
Avantika.
you.
About the mustard seeds or whatever you
Curry leaves.
curry leaves and
Very
about how coconut can help to digest the proteins. We are becoming so protein concentrated in our lives that we want to consume proteins, but hardly anybody knows on how to digest those
The
proteins.
breakdown
Very
of
true.
protein.
Because
Very
ultimately it cannot be excessive, right? Because proteins beyond a measure could also be harmful to your body.
100%.
See, as we are what we eat, but most importantly, we are what we absorb.
Absolutely.
You,
Oh, yeah,
I may
that's a-
recommend on an ideal meal plan that, oh, you need to consume 60 grams of protein. But for someone who's just been consuming 20 grams, an overdose of 40 grams,
He'll be
the
overwhelmed.
body only,
Will
yes, the
reject
body
it.
will be
You'll be
overwhelmed. The body is
overwhelmed,
going
yeah.
to reject it, right? So you have to introduce it slowly and then amp it up.
But that's a smart statement. We become what we eat, but more than that, we become what we can absorb.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's
Absolutely.
very interesting, Avantika. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
we don't focus on that part. We're focusing only on eating.
Absolutely. So, Adhiraj, all these turbulent times, does it make you more cautious with your fund on where you need to invest? And do you share your profile with the founders before you invest in them that you're an MMA artist and if you don't give the desired results, you have to stand in the ring with them, or they need to stand in the ring with you.
Me, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
yeah,
no.
Rajesh, I thought they would know the moment they see you.
What is your fancy about MMA and how is it correlated to the investment activities that you do?
Oh wow. Okay, so that's two questions in one. I'll answer the first one, which is, am I more cautious nowadays? I think, see, the problem with being a venture capital fund vis-a-vis individual investors like you guys is that we have to manage other people's money. It's not really, I mean, we do our own investments also, but we're managing, so we are the custodians of other people's wealth. So that is a very, very serious responsibility, because if you're investing your own money in it, you go down the drain in 5 and, you're okay in 2, you're okay. But when you're investing somebody else's money, like if Pramod gives me money to invest, I'm so worried about that because it's my responsibility to return that money back to him. So, and caution, I mean, more than caution, we've always been cautious. So I think venture capitalists by default spend most of their time doing risk profiling and scenario mapping and simulations and stuff like that. But another thing that we're also cautious about is so what is good for the world in terms of social media is bad for us because we want to stay away from these viral trends of, generative AI is the next big thing or IIoT is the next big thing, because it was very interesting. We started our first fund in Powai. And Powai had the highest per capita investment per square foot capita of investment in the world from 2012 to 2014.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was so much density of venture capital that happened in that little spot of Hawaii because of whatever reasons. And a lot of times we would be sitting and looking at startups getting invested. We would walk the road, this guy would be having coffee with us, and the next day he's walking away with a check. So at that point in time, that FOMO that, as an investor, because our fund lives are not forever, right? We have a 5-year, 7-year window within which to deploy. So we have deployment pressures also. So where you compound deployment pressures with all these people whispering into your ears that that's the next big thing, or, this is the next big trend. And the problem with trends is that there's no real data that backs it, right? 76% of all statistics is made up. So how do you counter those trends and make a rational choice is always the game of venture capital, right? And the second thing about the MMA thing, I think if it's a good founder, venture capitalists are chasing them, investors are chasing them, not the other way around. So a lot of our investments, we've been competing with other funds, and telling them that we are better than the other fund because we have this access, or, we can do this for you. So typically, even if you've seen on a Shark Tank, if it's a good investment, all the sharks are saying, no, I can do that much better for you. And if it's an average investment, then everybody's just trying to get.
So they are more than willing to give, other than money, they are willing to give strategic support as well.
Yeah.
So that the organization benefits and their investment gets multiple returns.
Correct. That's your job. So if you look at the investment model also, that's changed. Like earlier, they used to be just pure investors, right? They'd come in and say here, and then once in a quarter, and you would have seen this, they'd come in and say a board meeting and say, your PAT is this, your EBITDA is that, go do that. And some boring finance guy would be there who's lived all his life not running a business, so he doesn't know how to guide a business. And he doesn't know technology, but he's trying to guide a technology company on how to do it. We've had some very interesting experiences. But nowadays, if you look at the funds, they become smaller. So there aren't that many like billion-dollar funds. They're smaller funds, but with really interesting focus, because the people who are running those funds have lived that life, right? They've been technology entrepreneurs, or they've been manufacturing entrepreneurs, and they're trying to not only bring capital but also bring expertise and scale. And I've seen that a lot of startups have started preferring that. So they prefer to go to somebody who not just brings capital, and I'm sure you've seen it in your investment journey. I'm sure you've seen that in your
No, they
investment
were
journey.
looking at responsible expertise,
Correct.
which comes in.
Yeah,
Very
not just I'm managing somebody else's capital and I believe your profitability should be this because the index says that.
Correct.
They want people to partner with them, and I'm sure this time around I know you're starting something interesting. So this time around you're going to be getting people who can partner with you, right? And be with you in the trenches rather than tell you what to do.
So Pramod, it is very easy to do a venture when the venture segment is into an upswing. Like the wave is known to lift up even the largest of the ships at heights that it wouldn't have ever reached. But doing a business which doesn't have the market understanding, or the market doesn't have an understanding about, and doing that business and then educating the audience and then selling the concept of the product, it's a uphill and a very difficult task. How could you achieve that?
So historically, every time I did my business, there are two strategies: the red ocean strategy and the
blue ocean strategy.
Blue ocean strategy. So I don't know why, and I really regret it now sometimes. I always had an inclination, and I always did the blue ocean strategy. So not knowing what the heck I'm doing, not knowing what is going to happen, because like all of you will agree, you are entrepreneurs here. When you enter a new category, you don't know how much time it will take. You need patience. You need deep pockets.
There is no time.
There is no time. There is no peer group.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing is there.
There is no
actually.
competition also, because competition can be a good teacher, but there is nobody to teach you also.
Absolutely.
So you're on your own.
And if you succeed, it's like hitting a ball in the air.
Yeah.
You get caught at the boundary. They say, "Kya isko batting ही नहीं आता है." But वही बॉल थोड़ा six पे चले जाते हैं. So people say, "Kya technique, kya shot." So many ventures have failed. So many ventures succeeded. So if you ask me about red and blue ocean strategy, I know a lot of my friends who follow the red. They don't go to the blue.
And they are also successful.
They are also successful. They are very well successful. They did extremely well. I know GR very well. He is a blue ocean strategy. Right, GR, if I'm not mistaken.
He's so blue. He wears it.
Hey, that was not by design. It happened.
He wears it.
So when he first actually incubated Gold Gym in India, and I remember the first inauguration that took place at Dependency Road, he had invited me there. I didn't give him a chance. I said, yeah, some India mein fitness. But look at what he did. He did magic there. So I think a leader's job is to create his own reality.
Wow.
It is
Well
a job
said.
to create his own reality. And the reality sometimes doesn't happen, it sometimes happens, but you need to focus and make it happen. And that's what I try to do. I know that every time I've been successful. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I think life finally comes back in a circle.
From a slight difference which can add to what you're saying.
Sure.
You're saying that yes, sometimes successful, sometimes not successful. But what I have observed very clearly in Pramod's journey, because Pramod has been a very dear friend of mine for more than 2+ decades or whatever you call it. We have grown virtually together.
Yeah.
I found one thing very interesting is he's a dead end. And I would be very honest in saying you need guts and gumption if you have to be succeeding in a blue ocean. What he has always looked at is looking at things differently. Even I've seen with him the failures. Very interestingly, I don't think I would have the ability that he had to look at failures and look at it as in a very different way, which I call it in my own jargon as success. For what he perceived at times as failure, I thought it was a success which he brought on the table and he said, GR, this is what I have done. And so for me, it looks like when he talks about blue ocean, while I didn't get into it, but the way he went into it, idea which was ahead of his time, but he captured the essence.
But that's what blue ocean is all about.
Yeah.
That blue ocean subsequently becomes a red ocean.
Absolutely.
Any day.
Yes.
It is
So
bound to
today,
happen.
today it's red ocean. Like what he did 20, 30 years back is
Today it's
today
red.
red ocean.
Absolutely.
But are you happy that it created a market? It created a scenario where it has become a red ocean today, but you nurtured and cultured the market for that particular business opportunity. And today it's becoming a red ocean for everybody's advantage. And definitely people benefit out of something that is massively available. Because then the costs go down, education is better, people realize the utility of it much, much better. Otherwise, educating all of this on your own muscle will consume a lot of money. So how do you feel about that today?
So Rajesh, very honestly, I think when we conceptualize a new category and we take all the risk of getting into that and trying to make it successful and hopefully make some money, it doesn't follow a copybook style. Then, like in my journey of Zycom, I've seen so many bankruptcies, almost bankruptcies during my journey. And I said, tomorrow I may not exist in my business. But luckily, the divine forces helped me. But
Hey, so Pramod, can we call it? He was a comeback kid, man.
but I always believed that success is never final and failure is never final.
Absolutely.
Both are never final. So you have to keep it going, Rajesh. You have no choice because we are tigers and lions. We can't be sheep and goats, you know. So we have to keep fighting no matter what the odds are against us. And I think sometimes a comeback is greater than a setback also.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So many of
Because you're coming back with a lot of learnings
Yeah,
of what
yeah.
not to do.
absolutely, and so many of my setbacks that took place, I said it's all over for me. It became my comeback.
So true.
That's an absolutely nice way of looking at things.
Yeah.
Very nice way. Very positive way of looking at things.
Yeah.
It's good to have some good food on the table while we are talking, chatting.
Very nice food, huh? I must
Very
say
good
that,
food.
Rajesh.
This is
Sante is
GR.
doing a damn good job.
Oh yeah.
It's very tasty.
Yes, it is soba noodle with the bowl. I think again the ingredients are very interesting. You will not have any masalas or anything in the Sante food. And of course, sweet potato is a favorite for me, as for many people. So it's a great combination that the chef has designed. Avantika can throw more lights on the advantage of, Asian greens, chili peanut broth and roasted sweet potatoes and how it can do a lot of good to your body. You will not feel lethargic, GR. That's the best part. Clean food will
Yeah,
not make you feel
very
lethargic ever.
Very true.
If you yawn after having a meal, please assume that you have had something which is not great for the body.
Very true.
Because not always everything that is tasty is good for your body. If you yawn, it is not something great which you have just put in. When you have clean food, the best part is whatever part of the time of the day that you have, or whatever quantity you have. Of course, you should have quantity control, but even if you go overboard, if you still feel energetic and fresh, that means you have had something which has blessed your body.
Very nice. Yeah, it's very athlete friendly also. You've been
It's
telling
very
me.
athlete friendly also.
Yeah.
And without compromising on your taste buds.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I don't think we'd ever heard of gluten intolerance like
Yes.
15 years ago or 2 decades ago. Because the crops that our ancestors used were made of only the wheat. It was made of only 8 chromosomes. And now with the GMO crops, that is the genetically modified organized crops, it's made of 36 chromosomes. But our digestive capacity was not to digest just the GMO crops. It was only for the ones that are
The organic ones, the
yeah.
ones we call organic.
So buckwheat is healthy because it's gluten free. Plus,
So this is buckwheat.
yeah. So soba noodles primarily is made out of buckwheat.
Buckwheat, okay.
And there's this very interesting flavonoid in soba noodles. It's called as rutin. That is very good for vascular health,
Okay.
Oh.
heart health. So with peanut, it's a great combination of fat and flavor both. So yeah, it's a
Avantika,
win-win
I
on the
can't
plate.
resist asking you this question. That we talk so much about all this. When we are having a conversation, it looks very nice to hear all this. What is your experience in terms of people adapting to it and adopting it as a matter of habit? If you were to tell me, because you'll be knowing it in detail about the
Yeah.
customer profile, because I found it almost impossible to see a person following it to the T in terms of adopting it in the body system. What's your view? Because I'm fascinated by that part of the.
That's a good question. So as I mentioned it in the beginning, it's not just dishing out a meal plan. So I explained that why soba noodle is better than the regular noodles, right? So someone who's 50 years old or 60 years old, if I ask them to stop having wheat suddenly, they're going to have a withdrawal symptom. Because we all know that sugar has the same effect what cocaine has. So when gluten has these molecules called as gluteomorphoid, the word morphine, and it activates the same center in the brain that is activated when we consume cocaine. So I always caution my clients. I said, okay, if you cannot have the wheat chapati, because I'm speaking about the plate right now, you will have a withdrawal symptom. You will feel anxious, you will feel depressed. Because you cannot just have one toast, you would want to have another toast. You may not just have one biscuit, you would want to have another
No, like
biscuit.
what you're saying is for me personally, I don't have rice in the morning, my curd rice, okay? South Indians, there goes Rajesh. and
Yes.
Yes. If I don't have my curd rice with a chai, I feel I've not finished my food and I'm not energetic.
That's
Imagine
because-
my state of mind.
So that's because your body's been conditioned to it. More than your body, your mind has been conditioned.
And it's a small portion, but I need that taste.
So your body's gonna throw a tantrum, where's my curd rice?
Absolutely.
But you have to educate your body and your mind. It's about having financial discipline, which you all would be speaking about. You need to have financial discipline. Similarly, you need to have that discipline with the choices on the plate on the food. That is very important. And it's
Very
also
well. Very well
No,
said.
I think that's very important. So what I've actually, when you talk about food discipline, what I have ended up doing is at night I've cut out rice.
that's the best thing.
So what I've done is that in the morning I continue with this indulgence, and that keeps me good, mentally, psychologically.
It's all about the mindset. Like
Absolutely.
just 1.5 years back, if you would have seen me, I was handsomely, pleasantly plump.
Oh, you're calling it handsome. Okay.
Handsomely, pleasantly plump.
Right.
It means people used to love clicking pictures because they love teddy bears in all sizes.
Oh, really?
I was 22 kilos plus.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Acha?
Now I'm
Yeah,
saving
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
cloth.
Oh, now this guy influenced you?
No, my partner and the founder of Sante Spa Cuisine, Sonal Barmecha, she influenced me. So I jokingly say this, that once upon a time I used to live to eat. Now it is just a little change. Now I eat to live. Now this is my first meal of the day. The food greed is over. Like Avantika said, it's all in our mindset. In business, we are sharpshooters. We take the right decisions. We compromise when it comes to food, and our indulgence is food. Our common indulgence in the world today is food.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have portion control and number of times that you eat, so a very dear friend's daughter is a doctor. She's become a doctor, and she was also very pleasantly plump, and now she's become thin, slim, and fit, energetic and fit. So she told me one day that a human body needs only 100 grams of food for a day. Whereas we eat more than a kg per day, that is 10 times. Because we have got the concept of breakfast, lunch, high tea, and dinner. It is like that, what do you call that? American breakfast?
Yeah.
Something on those
English
lines.
breakfast, yeah.
So we have it 4 times in a day. You are consuming just because you are getting it. In ancient times, people used to hunt for food. If they didn't get it for 3 days, they were starving for 3 days. But that didn't kill them. That made them more robust. Their body was more enduring than what our body is. So just that simple practices and things have dramatically changed for me. And it's a pleasure when, I don't know whether you are on the plumpier side or not, or you are always like
He
this.
was always like this.
Then that's your
1 kg, you know?
1 kg in the
He
last
said no, 1
30,
kg.
1
20,
kg
20
plus.
years is great. So now you feel so good when you lose weight. You're energetic, your sleep quality is better, and you really feel like enjoying your life.
You'll tell me, if I tell you something, you are going to laugh. I go to sleep at 8:45.
Wow.
I wake up
That's
at 4:45
Very good.
4:45.
in the morning.
Very
So
good.
you know what
9:30.
happens?
9:30.
I am a guy who's been doing this only for 45 years.
Wow.
8:45.
And 4:40. 4:45 को तो मेरे सपनों का इंटरवल भी नहीं होता.
मेरा 10 बजे कोई बोलता है ना, हम थोड़ा सा जाएं, 10 बज जाएगा, मैं कहा मेरा सेकंड ड्रीम हो रहा है यार, तुम क्यों डिस्टर्ब करते हो?
Excellent, excellent.
So no, that deserves. My mobile phone is switched off at 7.
Wow. What I've also realized, GR and Avantika, is that if your food is really tasty, without compromising on your taste buds, if you make it tasty with all the right ingredients, like this particular stuff, where if you see the dressing, it's actually exploding in your mouth.
Correct.
Your brain gets waves of satisfaction. The reason why we overeat is our brain is not satisfied. It wants more and more and more. But if you really think about it, like how you feeling that when you're
No, I
eating
feel
this
light.
noodles,
Let me use the right word. With
The
these
dressing.
noodles, I felt light.
yeah, the
Let me
dressing
use
is such
word.
that it explodes in your mouth.
Right.
So you are actually feeling satisfied. Food should be made in that way, is what I feel. What is your take on that, Avantika?
See, I always tell my clients that this is not, if they sign up for 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, this is not a plan for 9 months. It's a plan for life.
It should
If
be lifestyle.
only if you can sustain, even if you're able, if you're on a travel, I understand, or if you're on a break, but you cannot be on a break for lifelong. You cannot be traveling all the time. So even if you implement those choices, even for one meal when you're traveling, or if you cannot, when you come back, you need to begin again. But you cannot force yourself to follow something if you, like I had a client, I told her that she needs to consume Brazil nuts, and we tried all the combinations, adding it in dark chocolate, having it in a powdered form. And she's like, I just can't have it. I said, please don't have it, because then it's not going to help you in any form if you're not ready to consume it. If mentally you're not ready to consume, or you do not enjoy the taste profile or the flavor profile, it's not going to add value to the
Absolutely.
add value to your well-being, even however healthy that food would be. So yeah, taste also does matter.
So never to compromise on your taste. Have the food made in the taste that you enjoy, but with the right ingredients.
Yes, with the right nutrients and the right ingredients. Yeah.
Which should be where your body should be able to absorb it.
Yeah.
That's a good takeaway for me.
Very good.
Matlab, you don't become what you eat. You become what you absorb.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
That's a very smart
That's a
statement,
really-
Avantika, that you
Like I
shared.
had a client who was 25 years old, a personal trainer by profession, and he came to me for a plan called as a gut cleanse. So the oil pulling that you were speaking about, I do ask them to practice it, because most of the bacteria is, when they did the COVID test also, it's always over here. So your tongue carries the maximum bacteria. So I put them on this plan, and you won't believe it was only for 3 weeks. And the purpose of the plan was not to lose weight. It was a cleanse. He ended up losing 9 kgs in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Super.
So yeah, it is, you are what you absorb, you're not what you
Very
eat.
interesting.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Right.
So, Adhiraj, what do you mean by digital transformation? Like, when I was reading about you, it was mentioned multiple places that you take up a company, you create a digital transformation for that company, and you change the flow of revenues or the size of revenues and make the enterprise very profitable.
Yeah,
So, if you can explain that in very simple words and give an apt example of what you did for any company.
sure. So I think people across the world have a misnomer about digital transformation, right? So, like if you look at recent AI adoption also, it's all agents to try and drive efficiencies within their own operations. Or if you talk to a CTO typically and ask him where your budget's gone, a lot of them will, kind of invest in uh, data acquisition devices, representing that data in a nice way, charts, ERPs, and all that. That doesn't push the needle of the business at all. That's just making your business reporting what's happening in your business is in a nice way, and that's what a lot of ERP companies have made a lot of money on, creating a digital transparency for your operations, which was great as a first move. But
As a first level.
as a first level, right? Now, where I come at it, and there are a couple of us, when you're a venture capitalist and you've seen this side of the world, right? You've seen startups come in, use technology, and disrupt the way business is done in that particular segment. It's not, oh, this can plug onto your operations and make it slightly smoother. And there are lots of organizations. I mean, if you talk to family businesses, and there are lots of people who talk to us, so saying that, yeah, we're on our digital transformation journey, we're making our operations more transparent, or representing data better. That is good. But to a large degree it's vanity, because looking at yourself in the mirror every day can only do that much. You still have to listen to Avantika and eat the right things and do the right things. So we took that DNA of how startups come at it, bottom up, and break the industry. And now what we're doing is we're doing it top down. So we'll pick up, either buy out a company which is at a decent size, or go in with an investment. And typically what we do is we try and look at the industry and see how can you fundamentally change the nature of either the service delivery or create a blue ocean around the product offering. I'll give you an example of, and in Pramod's space, and that's how we met. I was always fascinated with the fact that nobody feels secure, right? You also said it, chowkidars come in, and that, and if the more we studied it, and it was an interesting story. We invested in a startup called Taskbox, which was the earlier precursor to Urban Clap. And unfortunately, for whatever reasons, we had to pull the plug. A friend of mine reached out to me who actually played basketball with me and said, "Hey, I want to buy it." I said, "Oh, what are you going to do with it? What do you do?" So he said, "I run a physical security company." I said, "I'm sure physical security companies have technology." He said, "Come take a look." So we started looking and realized that all the parts of physical security, and Pramod can talk a little bit more about it, are disjointed, not connected. People have made massive investments in assets. People deploy security guards all the time. But there's no real outcome to anybody feeling safer, or any business outcome, like Pramod had also said, getting satisfied. So what we did is we created an AI layer. So I don't know if you've seen Minority Report, where you can predict the future of when the next crime is going to happen. We created an AI layer that kind of gets all the data in and creates them into business business solvable problems. By doing that, we managed to reduce. So we went into factories, large ones as HUL, Siemens, all these places. We saw they had 500 guards, and all of them minimum wage. Obviously procurement is a race to the bottom. They put chowkidars. I went and challenged them. I said, "Can we use technology, reduce the headcount by 50%? And instead of chowkidars, we'll put in special forces guys." So they said, "How are you going to do that?" So we created that AI, we got in cameras, we put the whole thing. We typically would reduce the headcount by 50%, thereby reducing their cost. And instead of a chowkidar who wouldn't know what would happen if, an emergency happens or a fire happens, we put in people who had put in 20 years with the special forces in the Indian Army, who knew what to do, who would be able to...
Who knew the drill.
Who knew how to crisis manage and who knew what to do and keep people safer. By doing that, not only did we reduce the cost, but we also improved the intangible feeling of safety and security, right? And we scaled that like to 200 crores in 6-8 months. And that's an example of what you can do with digital transformation, as long as you take it to your grassroots and believe that it's going to, I mean, truly stretch your imagination into how is technology or how is a technology intervention going to change the nature of how you're doing your business, rather than just describing it well back to you. So that's stuff that I've done.
And digital transformation is a possibility, a great possibility for any business venture, irrespective of what it is dealing in terms of product or services, or a combination of both, that is product and services.
Yeah.
It's applicable everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you identify such companies and how do you approach them?
So that's a good question, because I don't
Do
have...
you assure them of transforming the revenues as well? Because that is a very attraction trigger for anybody.
I think the secret sauce is top line is vanity, bottom line is sanity, right? So
Cash flow is reality.
yeah, cash flow is reality. Yeah.
I like that.
So can you go in, and my angle of attack is always look at profitability. So I'll go in and say, this is, if your EBITDA is X, forget about the top line. Nobody cares about the top line. I think he also
GR.
mentioned, GR also mentioned it, right? That unless you're profitable, you're not, I mean, valuations now basis profitability. So you go in and say that I'm going to expand your EBITDA. Forget about your top line. You may have, and typically our target should be somebody who's doing great top line. And India is full of these companies, right? Great top line, horrible bottom line, single low digit bottom lines, struggling third generation entrepreneurs, don't know what to do, looking at startups who are 19-year-olds and coming and creating billion-dollar valuations. These guys are running 2,000 crore profitable companies and saying, why is my valuation so sucky? So you go in, our typical angle of attack would be increase the EBITDA. Because if
By
that's-
deploying technology.
if that's your mission, I mean, not just cost saving, if that's your mission to increase the EBITDA, you will come up with the right interventions, right, on how you're going to transform the way business delivery is done, or how the service landscape can be changed. Like you rightly said, I think we're in a world, and I don't know if you want to edit this later, but somebody said that AI today is like teenage sex. Everybody seems to know about it, everybody seems to talk about it, but nobody knows how to do it, right? So a lot of AI guys, keep coming in and saying, yeah, we'll save costs, but the mission target is not to improve the EBITDA, right? So how can you fundamentally change the service delivery? Like you said, how do you human augment your current operations? Because you're never going to have an AI only operation, right? You'll have to have a human being who's going to do something. How do you cleverly stitch together the two parts of your business so that it's not an interference in your business or an intrusion in your business, but a seamless upskilling of your current business model? That's typically how we go about it.
That's a very fascinating conversation, because AI is dramatically changing things, but people need to understand that it is an enabler.
Yeah.
It is going to enable you to become more productive, and it can make people more accountable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, accountability with people is the biggest challenge that any organization faces.
100%.
Like, we don't know the
Rajesh,
productivity of a
when you
human
say
being.
AI is an enabler, I'm going to be downright disagreeing with you.
Absolutely.
Let me be very candid with you today. AI, for all of us, we need to remember AI is not an enabler. AI is a performer.
Excellent.
Now, why I call it as a performer, there's only one reason. Today, when I look at audit, I have concurrent audit, I have internal audit, I have statutory audit. I was an article clerk, a poor guy who used to get 250 rupees, sweating it out and trying to do the tick marks as an auditor. I had the label of PricewaterhouseCoopers. Nice. I used to come there, tick mark. And how much time do I take to do that from morning till evening, doing all the ledgers? I used to take 1 month to check all the credits in transactions in a company and feel thrilled. Today, how much time is AI taking to do it?
Seconds.
It takes 10, 20 minutes and faultless. Now, it is not an enabler then. It's
a performer. Okay.
So there's a big difference that is coming in. Now, in marketing, I see that I don't need those pretty marketing faces.
So can I say that it enables organizations to perform better?
Because they said, yeah.
Can I say that it enables
No,
the
don't use the
organizations
word
to
enables.
perform better?
No, don't use the word enables
Just
at all.
performer.
It is a performer because the others were non-performers. You look at the other thing it brings on the table, consistency. When we say routine,
Consistency, accuracy.
and one more thing I'll tell you, people used to say routine is boring. Now they say routine is exciting thanks to AI. That's the difference.
No, but to add to what he's saying, I was so surprised. There were a couple of universities where they had the convocations recently, right? And every keynote speaker, because the AI algorithms has pushed them to talk about AI, talking about AI, right? And they were all booed by the Gen Z. Every time they brought up AI, they were booed. There's a new trend that's coming out. Obviously, Gen Z in a graduation.
This happened in Arizona.
In Arizona.
I was watching it.
You watched it, right?
Yes, because why did the Gen Z boo? Because they said we are not getting the jobs.
Yeah.
And what has happened is a marketing department which had 50 people now has only 2. And everything clockwork position. So for me, it looks like a fascination. Younger generation is getting worried. But where, Adhiraj, I tend to slightly disagree is AI has come in. I have a very fascinating take, Rajesh. AI has come in, entrepreneurship will go up.
Yeah, true.
That's my take.
True.
You
So can I
have
at least-
AI, you
so-
have entrepreneurship.
So can I at least say that it will enable the entrepreneurs to perform
I
better?
can see Rajesh wanted to use the word enable. You are right there. For a change, I agree with you now.
These are changing times. These are
Absolutely.
changing times. Mundane jobs will never be done by human beings. They're not supposed to be doing that. All mundane jobs, routine jobs will be transferred to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. We are going to be supposed to do only the right choices. We just
No,
need
we
to
will
choose
be
the right AI,
entrepreneurs.
the right
model.
technology,
Yeah.
the right machine learning
Business
mechanisms.
will flourish,
Absolutely.
according to me.
Yeah.
Because we have more time.
GR, you have done so many businesses, you do so many businesses currently. How do you feel when you exit the business emotionally? For example, you might be very satisfied with the exit numbers that you got financially. But what about your emotions? Because you cultured and nurtured that organization for a couple of years, thousands of man hours, your energy, your focus, your attention, your bonding with the teams, your bonding with your clients, vendors, and now you have sold the stake and you have exited. How do you manage your emotions about those decisions?
But Rajesh, honestly, I must say it's a brilliant question. And I'll be very candid with you. I start off with the thought process that I'll have detached attachment. I start, and it doesn't work. I must say that. I would love to confess it doesn't work.
So you miss it even after you have left it?
Absolutely, because what happens is, for example, you were in fitness, you had that thrill of going to the gym and to your gym, and you loved it because you found that the place was vibrating and you felt that you're making people healthier. I used to run a company known as Has Juice. I used to give people natural juices. So I felt very happy that they're not taking anything which has any ingredients which are not good for the body, and no preservatives and other things made in front of you. They all give you a very nice feeling. But today, when I look back, sometimes you feel the thrill is not there and the excitement is not there. The excitement will be missing. But in the same breath, I'm forced to say that when you do a startup, you can't be an Abhimanyu. You have to become an Arjun.
I like
Explain
that.
that better.
Very well done.
You can't get into it, get stuck up
Yeah.
and lose. You need to know if
How
you
to exit.
have got into the company, have the ability to get out and say, I'm a guy who can enter and exit. I'm not a guy who enters and dies.
Yeah.
And that's what everything. Out of 99 out of 100 times, a startup dies. Let me give you that data. It's one person that survives. And you have to be that one person who's doing it right. And for that, your eye has to be trained to say when you need to have exits and entries. And here I'm just going to add one more thing. Ironical, but true. All my partners, I had difference of opinion when I used to say that we have to now exit because we are not wanting to put in money and we don't want to expand. They used to tell me, no, GR, you're not having guts. Great. You have balls of steel, I have balls of plastic. Fine. I'm good with it. So I used to tell them, I'm exiting. And you know what? You didn't know when to stop. If you can't put in money and say, I'll be a loss leader, what he said is right, the blue ocean, and what you said is right becomes red ocean. And then those fancy valuations are out of the window.
They disappear.
They disappear in thin air in no time. Before you say Jack Robinson, everything is gone.
So this is your reply connected to financials of an organization or an opportunity. How do you handle yourself emotionally? Because you must have even 15 years with that venture. And now you have exited that.
Yeah.
So do you feel an emotional drain when you think about that venture?
No,
Or you train your mind to be away from it?
If I say I train my mind to be away from it, I will be a liar.
Okay. You have emotional strings attached.
Even now, sense of nostalgia. When you go to that location, when I see Gold Gym in Bandra,
Sure.
I see a Gold Gym in Lokhandwala. You stop, you pause, you look back, and you feel, oh my God, what a scenario. When I go to Las Vegas, I'm not in the convention. You are in a convention handling about 32 countries are there, and you're the best performer in the world. And you have Arnold Schwarzenegger sitting in front of you, and you have the ability to talk, and he's listening to you. And he comes on stage and says, GR, I love what you have done. You have made Gold Gym the only brand which is a premium brand in India and nowhere in the world. And that's what you spoke to us today. And in India, Gold Gym was the only premium brand. It's otherwise known as pumping iron.
Yeah.
When you look back, when you
So
go to
you
that
have
stage,
those missing moments
always
of the past glory.
of the past glory and nostalgia. You feel, will those days come back again? That's the feeling.
Excellent, excellent.
Lovely.
Pramod, in the current scenario that we are at today, we see that the whole world is talking about security and insecurity. You feel
Nice.
insecure because you're not properly secured, and you want security so that you can be comfortable mentally. Whether it is a flight, whether it is going international, whether you do whatever you do. How are people leveraging this situation? Because lots of security companies are now tom-tomming about having great solutions. Every country is talking about protecting their own citizens. So this is a new scene and a new scenario. As far as arms and ammunitions are concerned, every country wants to be self-sufficient to protect their own citizens. What we have seen many countries do these days, it's much beyond your financial needs or any other needs. It is the need for security. What do you see happening, and how do you think entrepreneurs and businesses related to the security segment will leverage this scenario?
So to give you a very real life example is drones. That will answer your question in a much better way, because India didn't see drone 5 years back. But now there are companies which are homemade, which are homegrown, and also everything is indigenous about that drone. And they're winning large government contracts. Somebody is winning 200 crores, somebody is winning 300 crores. And these drones are actually not the one which is going to do delivery or all that stuff. They're real drones for defense.
They are going to deliver bombs.
And ammunition and protect the country. So that's one sector which I felt is doing extremely well as far as the new age businesses and technologies is concerned. Second is India, fortunately, in the last 1 decade, has invested a lot into security as far as protecting the country is concerned. We had Rafale happening and so many other things that has happened over the last couple of years. After a long time, I think the government is now very sensitive towards security. Earlier it was more of speeches than action. Now it is more action and less speech. We see every day something being bought. Even today, there was a deal of buying some helicopters for fighting. So I think we are right now in the right track. Globally also, I'm sure people are buying, but India, I think specifically since I stay here, I'm really loving the way the government is going about investing in security. Today, when since BJP has come into Bengal, they said they're going to give some 500 miles borderline for Bangladesh. They're going to fence that thing around there. So I think we are very sensitive now, Rajesh, and it's very good for our country because we have so many good friends around us.
I know.
Our neighbors are very good friends of ours. So it's very important that we take care of ourselves.
Coincidentally, every country has a friendly neighborhood in an unfriendly way.
Absolutely.
Every country. It is not only that we have one. Every country that you visit to has got some problems with the neighbor. And weapons and equipment are not for attacking or for defending. It is actually a deterrent that these people are well equipped.
Yes.
It is not the meaning that if we are producing so much of weaponry, we are going to use it one day.
Correct.
It is just to act as a deterrent for the other side. But in the times that we saw now, we realized that the methods of war have changed. It is more strategic. It is more strategic, and it is more a war between equipments rather than human beings.
Absolutely.
Like missile has no man on that, right? It's not like a fighter jet where there is a pilot. Tomorrow, I think even the pilot won't be there. It will be a robot who will be flying the. So it's more of machinery than manpower. It's first time we have realized in this current war of Middle East that it is more of the equipments fighting each other rather than the casualties are human beings and infrastructure. But actual who are getting into the war are machines rather than men.
Very true.
Yeah, but Rajesh, one small point that you need to add there for what you said is when you use the word strategy, it's geopolitical strategy. And if you look at the current war, the biggest strength is not because you're a mighty nation with the greatest technology. Today, if you look at it, there is one word that is capturing the world: asymmetric warfare.
Absolutely.
And that's clinching the deal today.
Absolutely.
You can be a small nation or a big nation, but it's going to be asymmetric warfare, strategic in nature, that is going to make or break.
Absolutely. So Pramod, what I foresee as a future for every nation, not only for India, is the security systems and the war preparedness is going to be a big opportunity. In fact, even the government of India is creating budgets, huge budgets, for becoming independent of depending on any other country to provide us with arms and ammunition, but build it indigenously for our own safety. So do you think that this sector has exploded in a very, very big way already with the advent of these wars in the last couple of years?
No, so we are moving towards that. I guess future wars are going to be fought in the air and not on the ground.
Okay.
Right? Drone is a classic example of that, and so many other things. So I believe future all battles are going to be fought in the air and less on the ground, because managing ground, managing the soldiers, their movements, their tanks, their ammunitions, this is so simple. Just go up and do the things.
It is a button play. When to press it is the only question.
Second thing is, just to answer your question, I guess if you look at the war which is taking place in Iran, it is CCTV has played a very important role there, because now if a camera is looking at the whole city, it can tell you everything what's happening.
It is an input device.
It's an input device. We feel we are being protected, but the other side of it is
We are being
being
watched.
watched.
Yes.
Every movement of us is being watched, and now that data can be used for a good cause or a bad cause.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we are ordinary citizens, so not much. But if there is a very high-profile politician, if his movements are all known by the agencies,
It's dangerous.
and also the people outside the country, it's something to worry about, right?
So today I've seen a trend that every manufacturing company is trying to create products which can be supplied to the defense departments of the country, and that has become a very big opportunity zone. A lot of investments are also flowing into this kind of manufacturing capabilities, where your end customer is the government, because the government is the best customer to have, right? If they don't have money, they can print and give money. They are authorized to print money. So you might get delayed, but you will never get denied. So I have suddenly seen a lot of traction happening in the defense part of the business opportunity of this country. So is that happening in reality?
Yeah.
Big time. And the reason is because government all across the board is today spending money on security, airports, ports, railways,
Boundaries.
you name it, and they're spending money out there. And interestingly, all the companies which are there, which into manufacturing, and nowadays Make in India is the flavor. Everybody is talking Make in India, Make in India. And for a change, it's actually happening. Earlier it was Make in
So
India
true.
means तुम China से लेकर आके बनाओ इधर.
Assemble karo.
Assemble करो. And उस पर अपना छप्पा लगा दो. It's not that case anymore now. But Rajesh, one more very interesting thing is, I've never seen this type of buying happening.
In the
Currently,
past.
it's at another level. You know, we used to get happy with the 5 crore, 10 crore order. Now it is running with thousands of crores.
Yeah.
The fiber laying for everything is like crazy out there right now.
So this is a big opportunity zone for Indian homegrown entrepreneurs. and manufacturing capabilities which can come into the defense of the nation.
Yeah.
It's already coming, Raj.
It's already come. It's already come. And more people are steering themselves towards it.
Yes.
So I think.
No, but I think one more thing about what is happening is you could become, in defense, you could become a nation which is exporting defense equipment.
Absolutely.
Big time. India is entering that phase.
Absolutely. It's they say that every calamity comes with an opportunity.
That's the
So
opportunity.
that is what is happening.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that is very interesting. This is a ragi based pizza.
Very nice.
So ragi based mushroom pizza, not for you, GR. For you, there is a farm fresh pizza because
I loved it.
you don't like mushrooms. So the chef has got a special
Very nice one.
farm fresh pizza
Compliments
for
to
you.
the chef.
So people love to indulge with pizzas. The only downside is it's not a very healthy option. So Chef Shailendra came out with a ragi based pizza, and we have people who travel distances to enjoy this quality of a
Wonderful.
pizza.
Yeah.
So you indulge guilt free. That is the objective we
Couldn't
have.
be better than that.
Yeah.
Avantika, isn't portion control also a very critical part of nutrition or eating habits? And how to overcome the greed of eating more? Because the problem with all of us is always going to be portion control. We like something and then we want to overeat, much beyond what the body needs, but the tongue is demanding it to have it more and more. So how do you deal with that situation?
So we have traffic lights, the red and the green, right? So think of the green traffic light as a green signal to go. So there's a hormone that is released in the body called as ghrelin, that growling sensation that you get. So the first rule of following the plan is eat as per fullness. I might tell you have 100 grams of chicken or have 100 grams of paneer, but if you're full, you need to stop eating. So you eat only when that growling sensation is there. And the red light is when the feeling, why is it that it's been said by our ancestors, chew your food slowly? Because when you start chewing your food slowly, the brain gets a signal from the fat cells that is called as leptin signal. That is a red light signal that you need to stop eating. So you need to just listen to these signals, the red light and the green light. That's the easiest way to manage portion control. Eat as per fullness and listen to the signals in your body.
But how to train your mind to listen to those signals?
Discipline.
Because when food comes on the table, it is only green signals that are visible.
So that's why.
Red signal दिखता ही नहीं है.
Yes. So distraction, not looking at social media, not checking the phone, not watching television, very, very important. The focus should only be on the meal
Concentrate only on the food.
and the pace at which you eat your food. When I take a questionnaire, when I take a recall, how long do you take to complete your meal? 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, you need to chew your food properly. That's very important. So if you chew it well, portion control is like a
Taken
default.
care of.
Yeah.
Your system is feeling full, even with less quantity of food that
The quantity what the body requires.
what the body requires.
As who said that we consume 100
100 grams. I said that.
grams. Yeah, 100 grams.
Our body needs only 100 grams. We are eating 1
Exactly.
kilo.
So
So true.
That's a smart way. That's a smart way.
Very true.
In business, generally, when funding is required, the founder does not have the red lights and all that. He only has green lights.
Yeah.
And he wants money more than the business needs. How do you regulate the quantum of investments to be done in a business?
That's a super question. So it depends. So a lot of people raise capital for the wrong reasons. Typically, I mean, at the bottom line of the reason for raising capital is not to run a business or start a business, it's to scale a business, right? And if you stretch that vector of thought, if it's genuinely being used to scale businesses, then the use of proceeds have to show where the business is being scaled. Not that, oh, I want to build this product, unless you're super early and you have an angel, but I want to pay myself a bigger salary, or I want to hire people who will bring, just vanity things. That's when you should not raise. That's your first. I mean, you talked about F. I think the first round of funding is also the 3 Fs, right? Friends, families, and fools. So if you're going to raise it for vanity, raise it from fools. If you want to raise actual institutional capital, you have to very clearly distinguish in your mind that as an entrepreneur, if you're going to scale and your function of capital is going to be to allocating capital to scale, and you're going to have people like me or like GR who are going to sit on your heads and see that you use that capital to scale and nothing else, and you're responsible and you're ready to take up that uphill responsibility. It's not easy. It's like having a Fitbit on your startup every day and to get regulated. It's not easy. That's the biggest regulator, I think. And a lot of conversations between the funders and the startups need to be focused on that as well. That if the function of capital is scale, regulate conversations around scale, not how much more unique my product has become in the market, but if that's not created incremental value or incremental scale, you go into this rabbit hole of making the best product in the world that nobody wants, right? And a lot of capital, technology is also a great black hole.
Absolutely.
You keep investing in it, keep sharpening the knife, and you'll make the sharpest knife in the world with nothing to cut, right? So
It'll cut you.
it'll
Yeah.
cut you.
It'll cut you.
Yeah. So I think the best way to regulate when capital needs to be injected,
How much?
how much it needs to be injected, is all a simple function of scale. If you're going to open, say,
So do you
10
create milestones where the infusement will keep happening? Do the founder and the promoter have to prove that, okay, this is the justified demand because this is consumed and these are the results which were expected,
Yes.
and we have surpassed those expectations. Now I'm ready for the second round.
Yes. So even when deals are structured now, they're also structured in tranches.
Okay.
So depending on milestones, they get blocked. And in fact, there's another tool which is a clawback, where you say that the founder will get more equity back if they reach certain milestones, right? So if I had to choose as an entrepreneur whether I'll get to raise more money after certain milestones or get more equity back into my own business, I would choose the more equity. If I really believe in my business, I would choose the business. And that gives a signal to the investor also, right? Is he choosing more money or is he choosing to claw back equity? Does he truly believe in what he's building or not, right? So that's one way of doing it. And the second thing is, see, as venture capitalists, we're as close to people who read people's palms and try and predict the future, right? You can't ever be 100% sure on what the future is going to be. So there's always course correction along the way. There are certain milestones, and if it's a scale-based milestone, those are easier milestones to do, right? So even when we're choosing metrics, we try and choose metrics, and this would be my advice to any investor, choose metrics that are easy to comprehend, that are easy to quantify, because quantifying that my processing power, I'm going to be the best at, let's say, creating a processing engine for AI is not quantifiable, because best is it's a word that can't be quantified. But for Sante, for example, if you're going to open 10 restaurants with X number of revenue coming from each, your ticket size for each consumer being X, those are easy metrics to hit, easy conversations to have. If
Accountability
you're
and measurability.
very easy to have those conversations. When it becomes vague and fungible, that's when you see so many fallouts between an investor and a founder. The simple thing is because A, the capital was not used just for scale, and B, because nobody sat and created a non-fungible, simple, transparent metric to track what growth means. Growth means different things to different people, right? And that expectation setting, when you're sitting across a table at a negotiation, at an equity event, very, very important to bring it down to its bare basics of what can I easily measure, what can I easily quantify, what can I easily have a conversation about, rather than vague dystopian ideas of taking over the world.
Wow, excellent, excellent. That's very interesting. So, GR, what are some of the interesting opportunities that we should invest in as strategic investors? What should be interesting and exciting, and what's on your plate?
Very, very simple philosophy to be followed, and not to be having too much of thinking through about it and overthinking. The first and foremost is, let's all understand, today is a day and age of AI. Any investment that you're doing in the unlisted space has to have the AI flavor. To my mind, AI is going to be there as a hot commodity for the next decade.
So the company that you look out for, the first performer in that should be AI.
Because you can't tell me that I'm getting into a startup which is going to be something which is too intensely people driven. B, it's going to be something where I have to do a lot of manual operations. Third, if it is going to say that I'm going to have a logistics nightmare, no. I need to have a company which it can have interesting products, but keep your processes simple and stupid. Tech-driven, AI-driven, and reduce your headcount, keep your productivity at the highest level, have efficiency and effectiveness, and please, everybody in India, start thinking about bringing in robots also into the manufacturing system so that you are a global power. As Pramod has been saying, you have been telling, if we want to be a global power, we need robotics engineering to also start coming into the country as it has happened in China. I went to China and I saw one shocker. I didn't see human beings. I saw only 2,000 robots. They were playing with each other and producing.
Playing with each other.
And producing. And producing whatever they were supposed to produce.
Yeah, and they were producing hell of a lot because it's a geriatric community. The youngsters are not there in China. So for me, technology in whatever form, Rajesh, looks into the opportunity and the way forward in startups. Don't keep on saying, I have a great idea. There are 200 ideas. Get it off the ground, make it tech-driven.
Execution is the key.
Execution is the key. And then, as Adhiraj rightly stated, it should be optimum amount of capital. I don't want a promoter to come and tell me, I'll fix everything except one thing. Just give me the money. Just take that promoter away and tell him, thank you very much. God bless you.
So can you share a pitch that you would like to hear so that people can come with such pitches to you?
Yes,
What can be that pitch?
The pitch is that here in India, for the first time, we have become a product company. Never was India a product company, it was a service company. And we have become a product company. And this product which we are having, Adhiraj, you are the guy who's going to evaluate me.
Also include numbers.
Yes. Yeah. This is a company which is a product company. And this product is miniature drones. Miniature drones which are going to do my retail house surveillance from your area. Now, I am saying the guards go to sleep when I want them the most. I come in the night from the airport, they're not opening the door and they're fast asleep. And when they have to open the door, they're not opening it. When it's be closed, it's open. Now, where is it? Drone technology has come in. I have miniature drones. Let it do the surveillance. Let me have this technology is there. I have become a product guy for the first time. I've got the drones manufactured indigenously. Can I tell you why I'm so good? In the US and in other places, this drone is manufactured at a price where in India, I'm manufacturing at 1/10 of the world prices. Just like your rockets in ISRO are being manufactured at 100 million, whereas US is at 1 billion. I'm in the similar category.
How much money do you need?
Now, I'm telling you, these drones, coming to the money part, before the money part, I want to tell you my projections. You asked me for the projections, I'll give you the projections. I am of the firm belief that these drones, I'm going to be retail-based, Pramod's favorite area. I'm going to use it for retail housing security. I will not have the guards, not because they're bad, but because they're inefficient and I want security. That is paramount importance
but drones,
to me.
So I'm the guy who's taking your pitch and I'm countering your pitch.
Please.
But I'm saying that now drones is a red ocean technology. There are too many people offering the same solutions.
It's a red ocean technology, but are you using the red ocean technology right in retail housing in terms of
What
guards?
is it different that your drones do?
My drones take care of security, safety, the alarm system is good, it is consistent, it is technology driven, so there is no human error and the guards are not sleeping. So my drone, according to me, Mr. Rajesh, Agnelo is a damn good product according to me, with due respect.
What are your current numbers?
My current numbers, I've started off with, for the first year of operation, I've done 1.5 crore with a bottom line of minus 11 lakh. In the second year, the product has been accepted in the marketplace in Mumbai Central and in Mumbai, South Mumbai. It's been accepted very well because there are elderly people, they are scared, their children are in the US. So what we have done is we are looking at this to grow to about $1 million.
So you're 8% deficit on a per annum basis. 1.5 crore and your loss is 11 lakhs.
No, but don't take it. It's a startup. I could never have given you a startup which gave me losses in the first year.
And what is
I
the
am-
valuation that you're expecting for
No,
this
I'll
1.5
tell you
crore?
what. I'm going to go to 8 crores in the second year with a profit of 2.5 crore. In the third year, I'm going to go to $2 million and a profit of 5 crore or close to $1 million. And my valuation I'm expecting, Mr. Agnello, is going to be nothing short of $3 million, out of which I am expecting from you to be putting in $500,000 as a pre-A series. And I think I'm being very fair because I feel my product has value and you give me money, I create valuation for you, and both of us win when we go for the A series.
What
Thank you so
happens?
much, ladies and
What
gentlemen.
happens if you don't achieve those projections?
If we don't achieve
for
those
the Wall
projections, I am saying that it's a case where you can be looking at
Will the equity dilution happen in a differently calculated way then?
no, there's no, we will be going by the term sheets. You have to take a chance on me. You need to evaluate.
So if you
me.
don't achieve your projections,
Anyway, I've already diluted. If I don't, you are coming to me on the projections for the future.
Suppose
you,
if I-
am future ready, and you need to be ready to put in the money now. You can't be risk free. It is equity, Mr. Agnello. Equity, you pay a price, high risk, high return.
so
Put
I
in
have
the
to
money.
either believe your assumption or I have to look at another
You
loan
have
company.
to evaluate my assumptions, test my assumptions, see the probability of happening, and then invest. Do prudent investment.
And suppose if you don't achieve those milestones, do I have the liberty to realign the valuation?
It will not be realigning the valuation. You can get further funds at a discounted valuation, but further money has to be put in because if the valuations are not achieved, that means the numbers are not achieved. It has a cash flow problem. You can introduce the money or get another investor in the system. According to
guys-
me, the product cannot fail.
So guys, anybody in the miniature drone business, it's a sitting opportunity for you. With the same explanation, you can raise money from
You
him.
can bring in your money, and what the stock market doesn't give you, we'll give you. It should be nothing less than 5x in the next 5 years.
Excellent. So GR
How
is
many
a
times did you
specialist
watch
of
Full
investing
Throttle
into
Wall Street?
unlisted companies. And I would like to ask Adhiraj on how he would have reacted to such a pitch.
Adhiraj, your comments.
I mean, I would have asked you if Pramod has a role to play in your company. Because if he does, then I would have invested.
Oh, you're going on a person. Pramod will be with me as my advisor for the safety part.
No, not advisor. He has to play a more serious role.
Functional
But
role.
he's not wanting to put skin in the game. That's why
What
he's
is-
got me.
But you haven't asked him.
But Adhiraj,
he
what is your take on his
What is the
valuation?
take?
On his valuation, and would you invest on that pitch? Would you like that pitch to be invested for?
I think the pitch was very compelling. Avantika
you.
kept telling me Wolf of Wall Street, Wolf of
Why
Wall
shouldn't the valuation be 2 million and not 3 million?
Oh yeah,
Look at
that
him.
I would have brought him down. I would have brought him down to $1 million. But
No, that is a matter of negotiation.
yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
maybe
What do you
Adhiraj
think-
goes for the Barkis model.
What do you
I'll be
think?
with you.
What do you think is the fair valuation for a company doing 1.5 crore, wanting to raise money at $500,000, giving an equity at the valuation of $3 million? What do you think is your take on that?
That's a very subjective question because
Because
there
you
are
look
lots-
at 800,
Yeah.
I've told you about the future. You not look at 1.5 crore.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I won't look at 1.5 crores. I'll look at the future. Look at.
Will you look at the team,
I
past
will, yeah,
performance,
yeah,
past
100%.
excellence?
You look at the
100%.
promoter first.
Yeah.
Who's pitching?
Which is why I said promote because at 1.5 crores.
exactly.
At 1.5 crores, it's more the promoters who are, driving it because it's too small a number. I typically do larger number, but it's too small a number for me to think about.
So 3
what the
million
projection
typically
is.
in calculation terms is 30 crores
Yeah.
for a company which is currently doing a revenue of
Yeah,
1.5
it's-
crore.
It's,
So isn't
too
that an
high.
insane
Yeah,
expectation
it's
of valuation?
Yeah, it's too high.
Yes.
It's too
Pramod,
high.
as an investor, how would you
You
look
look
at it?
at the cash flows.
So
series
there are
you
two
would
types
pay
of businesses. One
more
which
than the
are
profit first. More than the
low
profit first.
top line but high margin. I think that's the kind of
But
business
still,
he's
if you
talking
have to
about.
choose one
So obviously the
first,
EBITDA is
But
going to be very high.
I don't know. That's
The
a hard
P
question.
multiple is going to be very
Because it
high.
depends on what the business is.
And also the scale of business is also going to be very high because the market
obviously,
is
thanks
very
to
big.
Samir, I started
I was very
understanding
surprised when
this language. I would not otherwise.
GR was throwing the numbers. I thought the numbers should have been much bigger than what he was talking about. But I think it's
I'm being conservative.
So Avantika, suppose if I invest at such wild valuations, after investing in such high valuation, believing his assumptions, how will I manage my stress? How should I
But
manage
before
my stress
Avantika
on a daily
answers,
basis?
hey Rajesh, I have one point to make. I put in a pitch, ask Adhiraj also, ask Pramod also, they've been in this game. If I say 3 million, I am saying 3 million. Nobody agrees for
Nobody
3 million. It will come down to 1.5 million, my
That's
friend.
what I said.
Or
Okay.
1 million. So let me be very
Discount is
honest.
given.
Okay,
Ah.
so I have achieved my target.
Your stress is down.
In spite of that, when I believe in him and his assumptions, and I invest money in that, now what I have to manage, because the business is managed by him, I have to manage the stress whether he'll achieve the milestone or not.
Yes.
So what are the lifestyle changes that I need to do apart from being a regular customer at Sante
Nice
Spa
one,
Cuisine?
Nice
What are
one.
Very
what
well
are the lifestyle changes that I need to be doing
See,
as an entrepreneur?
the first thing that you've kept this meal between 4 to 6. 6 is the time when I generally
Cut off.
finish my dinner. So yeah, stop eating by 6 o'clock in the evening. Ideally, if you can go to bed by 10:30, that's the best time. And the most important thing that you need to invest in is in your physical fitness and in that gaining muscle. Because that is one of your assets that the body tends to lose easily. So focus on muscle gain, focus on your cardiovascular health, and yeah, sleep on, eat light, train right, and sleep tight.
Okay, so
Nice.
shall I make it a part of my term sheet with him that he has to follow that?
You should.
Make it a part of a
You
term
should.
sheet that I should be the health consultant for.
Yeah. So eating 4 times in a
And
week
having
at
a guy
Sante Spa
who's so
Cuisine.
fit there. You're not even
Eating
complimenting the
eating
guy
4
who's so
times
fit
at
there.
Sante in a week at Sante Spa Cuisine so that my revenue here also improves.
Absolutely.
At the same time, his health is taken care of. He is already sleeping well. Do you think that after I invest, I'll be able to sleep as well as he's sleeping?
That's
No.
the personal choice.
No.
But
So,
on a serious note,
what I jokes aside, on a serious note, I've invested in multiple ventures, and many a times I see that the founders are not taking good care about their own health.
absolutely.
They're not eating right. They are overweight. They have got
Very
bad
true.
sleep cycles. They tour a lot. They eat a lot of unwanted food, junk food. So he might be a smart businessman, but what happens if he's not there tomorrow after I've
Very
invested
true.
the money?
Very
And it has happened so many times. So I also feel that when you are investing into an enterprise, you also need to look into the lifestyle of that promoter or that founder.
I couldn't agree more.
So that your money is well taken care of. I'll give you a real example. There was this gentleman, one of the biggest industrial families of India, one of the biggest. Everybody knows them. I don't want to take their name.
Yeah.
When he was raising money in the United States of America, he was bulky, 110 kilos of weight. One investor from the group got up and said, how do we trust a man to manage our money when he is not able to manage his own health?
Yeah.
How do I invest in such a man? So I am not ready to invest. Your plan is fantastic. Your projections are phenomenal. You have got phenomenal power in your own country to make money multiply. All said and done, all that is fine. But if you are not taking charge and good care of your health, then my money is at risk. Not business risk, but the risk of the existence of the founder on whom I've invested.
Yeah.
So don't you think we should take these kind of parameters also into account?
Yeah.
Adhiraj?
I tend to fully agree
GR?
because I feel that the guy who's obese is not fit to run an organization.
Absolutely.
For me, that's a major, major red flag. I'll be very honest with you, how brilliant he is, because we don't know his longevity. So in that sense of the word, Rajesh, I'm totally 100% with you.
Yeah. And
So
I
guys,
think,
if you are wanting to raise funds, you need to be not only fit in business and projections and assumptions and your demands and your ask and your valuation, but you also need to be fit as a individual personality, because the money is going to ride on you.
Yeah.
And for that, you need to be around. It should not happen that the shareholders' money is being invested for medical corrections of the
Purposes.
promoter.
If you are fit,
Because
you are a hit.
absolutely. So this is critically important. So what you take, what you intake, and what you absorb, and how you treat your lifestyle as going to the gym regularly, playing a sport, sleeping well, eating right, is as important as where you are buying your raw materials from, how are you storing
Yeah,
your finished
yeah,
products, how
absolutely.
you are doing inventory management, how you are balancing your cash flow, how you are managing your profit and loss account and balance sheet. It is as important as that, right?
Perfect.
So projects like Sante Spa Cuisine has a bright future.
Absolutely. And you sold yourself
If
pretty
you-
well, Rajesh. I must say that.
I mean, even for
Because if you really want to raise money, all these aspects do become a part of your term sheet. Have to become a part of your term sheet.
see, indirectly, every human being that you meet is a product of his choices, right? You make choices every day, and a lot of people say that no circumstance or family or travel, everybody has the same constraints, but you are a product of every choice you make every day, right? You cannot shrug that responsibility off you. And when you're standing in front of an investor in whatever manner, you are looking like, or you're speaking like, or you're dressed according to it's a function of all the products of all the choices you make every day. Would I trust somebody who doesn't make the right choices every day? Probably not. So yeah, so I think testimony to you. I think that's a good point. I think we should also try and think of getting the fitness part in our term sheets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as a parting shot, one last question to you guys. What is the next business that you would like to invest in and cut a $1 million check? What is the next business opportunity that you would like to do that so that the people know which are the demand areas? I'll begin with Pramod.
So if I had to start afresh again, I would have invest in 3 sectors. One is surveillance, second is drone, and third is robotics.
Fantastic. So is it in that sequence or you want to change the sequence?
That's it.
Surveillance, drones,
Drone
and robotics. Yes. GR, you cannot repeat what somebody has said.
I'm not going to repeat it. I'm just telling that I will be into any business which is AI driven, technology based, and for the first time, it's a product, not a service.
Excellent. So you're done with your service quota.
Enough and more. Done and
Excellent.
dusted.
Avantika,
Wellness segment.
in the wellness segment.
Yeah,
Straight
because-
$1 million check into the wellness segment.
Because AI can capture the market, but wellness is something that requires human connection. So
Excellent.
wellness segment.
Excellent. Yes, Adhiraj.
I think for me, 3 main focuses. One is services, because in India, I think the competency of being able to pull off a service right is a very rare skill. Just to be competent enough to do your job at the right time, at the right place is a hugely undervalued skill. Urban Clap has come in and showed us how to do it, right? I mean, earlier, even getting a plumber or getting anything fixed, the biggest challenge was, are they actually going to come at 4 o'clock when they said that they're going to come at 4 o'clock, and are they going to overcharge us? And so Abhiraj has done a great job in just getting that bit of the competency done. So if you look at Urban Clap or any of these others, they are a technology-driven service company. So there are multiple opportunities within our ecosystem to create a digital service model that genuinely drives customer value. That would be my first preference in today's demographic, keeping in mind all the global humdrum that's happening with what you had asked me earlier. The second would be infrastructure. So everybody's talking about AI. Nobody's talking about infrastructure of AI. So data centers, there's a lot of infrastructure that goes into creating an AI program, chipsets, the fundamental building blocks. I think the whole world is skipping on. Other than obviously Nvidia's stocks going through the roof, but the fundamental building blocks of accelerating the transformation that GR is talking about is a greenfield virgin territory that I think I would bet my $1 million on.
And the third one?
The third one would be health tech and fit tech, just because I'm so passionate about it, and I think there's still a large
Scope in that segment.
In that sector. Yeah, that would be my 3.
Last question. What is the type of founder that you'll invest on? One statement.
Say again?
What is the type of founder that you will invest on?
What is the type of founder I will invest on? So somebody who is very, very passionate, somebody who says, okay, I think we had a lot of F's now, so let me talk about F's today.
Okay.
So somebody who believes business is focus, somebody who believes business is fun, somebody who believes business is fast, somebody who believes business is flexible, somebody who believes business is to be fit, otherwise simply FO.
Okay. Yes, GR.
I have only one mantra. The startup that I am looking out for today has to be one which has, from the Indian shows, the ability to become global, AI-driven, technology-based, product-driven, innovative, and looking at the future rather than the present.
Excellent. That is the answer of the business that you're looking for. I
Yeah.
want the answer of what type
I
of
want
founder would you like?
This is the founder I'm looking for.
Who
I
can
did
do all of that?
All of that, and not. I didn't want to. You had made a statement. I can't be repetitive, so I'm not putting words like fitness. I want that guy to be fit and agile with an
Changing
inkling
scenarios.
towards technology and innovation as his daily habits.
Excellent. Yes. The founder that you would like to invest in. Describe the nature of the founder.
For me, the core value of the founder should align to my values: honesty, integrity, and, as he said, have a futuristic approach of what even wellness can bring in. So yeah,
That is the
what-
founder that you are looking for. Yes, Adhiraj.
I think the founder firstly needs to have a co-founder, because there's no one founder that has all skills. But if I had to pick a combination of two, one, I would invest in somebody who's obsessed. There are very few people who are that obsessed to be able to make it to that 1%. And that reflects on everything that they do. So, there's a typical kind of, I don't know, in India we call it a kida, right? That person who has a chip on his shoulder, who's obsessed with doing what he's going to do, who's obsessed with taking it to the next level. That kind of obsession is not taught. That kind of obsession can't be faked. It's very, very evident that that person is obsessed to a point where he's going to put himself on the line to make it happen, right? That's one. And to counterbalance the person, passion sometimes can be detrimental too, both in businesses and in marriages, but more in businesses more often than not. So the co-founder has to be somebody who's sensible, rational, operationally driven, numbers driven. So if both of these people balance themselves out, then it's good for the early stage. But Damodaran said that every business needs to behave its age. So if it's an early stage company, a passionate CEO would work. If it's a mature stage company, that same passionate CEO who took it from a 0 to 1 may not be apt to run a fully functional ship at 100 million, right? Because at that time you need processes, you need discipline, you need a lot of stuff that stifles innovation. So he may not be ready for that. So at that stage, I'd probably be looking at somebody who's run processes or got best practices, who's invested in himself with working in large companies, bringing those big practices in. So it depends really on the stage of the company, because the worst thing that a company can do is not act its age. Older companies trying to act like startups, or startups trying to act like older companies. That's where things kind of go awry. And the same thing extends to founders.
Lovely. So these are insights from people who have been there and done that. And I'm sure you have got a lot of messages across. If you find yourself matching to whatever these people have expressed, you need to get in touch with them. I think that will change your future. So this is Agnelorajesh signing off from Sante Spa Cuisine here at BKC. And we really not only enjoyed the multi-course meal, but we enjoyed the way these brilliant people think, ideate and plan for. I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways. Do mention in your comments on what did you like the most, and also comment on the questions we asked them. You can also have the liberty to answer those same questions. We look forward for your participation and interaction. Signing off. Thank you so much. Have a God bless future. Thank you.